Alright folks, I'm looking for a serious debunker out there. I have 900 pages of evidence pertaining to geoengineering to prove that it is going on. I don't want to believe that there is nefarious activity going on with bureaucracies and governments around the world where they want to control us, ultimately, to control the weather, control the food, control the oceans. They want to have complete control over us. Now, I don't want to believe that's what's actually going on here. The evidence I have suggests otherwise. I'd like a serious debunker out there to help change my opinion, or to help prove to me that this isn't actually going on, because I don't want to believe it is. I'll start here with the Belfort Group, Case Orange. Very large document, extremely scientific, coming out of United Kingdom. Ridiculous amount of documentation, very scientific, like I said. Very hard to disprove. I'd like someone to try. Give me your opinion on the Belfort Group. Don't come up with some stupid, ridiculous debunking theories that I've seen. Like, oh, it's just condensation coming off of the wingtips. Or, oh, hey, they kind of, they screwed up the acronym for HARP, therefore nothing they say is credible. What about the chemtrails themselves? This is this discussion. I don't care about acronyms being misspelled or litmus tests being put into mud. These are not going anywhere. Or oh, this video said that these were nozzles, but they're not actually nozzles. Well, in the video they still showed the chemtrail being sprayed, so none of these debunking videos go anywhere to disprove what the geoengineering programs are going on. Started with the Belfort Group. I would like someone to try and reply to me on that. Try and disprove that. Vincent Gray. He's been in meteorology longer than me and my parents have been alive combined. So when he came out with the article, Spinning the Climate, directed at the Intergovernmental Poll on Climate Change, IPCC. In this document, Vincent Gray goes to explain how we have all been lied to. Yes, the carbon in the ice cores that we can measure has never been at the tipping point that it is at now. And so drastically increased. Nobody's seen it before, and yes, we globally are seeing some pretty dramatic changes worldwide, where you see glaciers melting, entire basically calves the size of like Rhode Island dropping off of Antarctic or glaciers. Yes, these things are going on, but it is not such a dramatic and deadly event where we need to go and spray the world with toxic chemicals. This isn't going to help the fact that there's global warming going on, that we've been pumping all these greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. This isn't going to change that. This isn't going to bring our emissions to zero. If anything, the geoengineering programs make it so that these people can say, oh, we reduced global warming, now we can keep pumping out all these greenhouse gas emissions. So here you have Vincent Gray going on and explaining in his document, Spinning the Climate, how we have all been lied to and when it comes to global warming and the severity of it. Yes, it is severe, but it's not severe enough to the point where we need to spray everybody with toxic chemicals. It's just such ridiculousness. I won't stand for it. So we have the Belfort Group down. We have Vincent Gray. Another thing, I would like someone to try and prove to me that this guy's over 70 years in meteorology somehow means nothing, and that he's been lying to me. Someone tried and prove to me that Vincent Gray is lying to me when he tells me in this document that the rest of the IPCC and other climate change agencies have been lying to us, basically. Try and disprove to me of what Vincent Gray says. I have here a whole list of documents pertaining to patents. We have stratospheric Welshback seeding for reduction of global warming, patent number 5003186. Try and debunk this patent's existence. It's a chemtrail patent. Here's a patent for the Tesla technology, the HARP technology. Yes, it is patented. It was patented on August 11th, 1987. It's called the method and apparatus for altering a region of Earth's atmosphere, ionosphere, and or magnetosphere. It's patent number 4686605. Imagine that, 3 sixes in that. Just joking. Now I know no one's going to be able to debunk this particular patent's existence ever. I don't expect anybody to actually debunk any of these. I'm hoping they will, but I highly doubt they will. Here's another patent for, it's a Monsanto patent for sorghum aluminum tolerance gene that they can put into their GMO foods to make them tolerant to aluminum. And of course they've already got this tolerance to low sunlight genes. So low sunlight, high toxicity soils, that's exactly what's going on with these geoengineering programs. I can't help but to link the two. This was put out on September 1st, 2009. It is patent number 7582809. Debunk that. I'd like to see you try. And don't try to pick out, like, acronyms that were misspelled. That doesn't go anywhere to disproving these documents exist. Here's another document I want people to try and debunk that this exists. This is a document called Weather is a Force Multiplier Owning the Weather in 2025. This was an United States Air Force document on August 1996. Basically going, there's a lot of government jargon, very boring jargon, and they kind of really dance around the fact that in this document they say they want world domination by 2025. It is really what they're saying in this document. By owning the weather, owning foods, owning the weather systems, the owning everything down to the oceanic currents they can control. It's all listed here, and weather is a force multiplier, owning the weather in 2025. They want complete control over the weather, our food, and ultimately us. Within the next 15 years here. Are you guys going to let that happen? Or are you going to sit down and just take that one in the butt? Like a bunch of sheeple? I hope not. I really hope not. This is an EPA document from December 21st, 2000. Someone trying to debunk the legitimacy of this document. Doubt you well. This document from the EPA goes and says the EPA is not involved in or aware of any application or aerial spraying of chemical, biological, or toxic substances as claimed by your past correspondence or on the above or any other websites. The agency takes very seriously its mission to protect human health and the environment. Now that's just fine and dandy if it weren't for this documentation from the EPA from 2009 that was put under the table for the last 4 years and just recently dug up and put out and released in leaks on websites like the gmacag.com and its mirroring websites. This document goes to show how they try to cover their ass and say, oh, we warned the IPCC about the disastrous consequences of these geoengineering programs. They did know about it. They knew a lot about it. A lot. They did a lot of research into it. But they buried it all for the last 4 years. This document from the EPA, it can be found on the Global March Against Chemtrails and Geoengineering Facebook page. You go to the photo directory, albums, and you go scroll to the leaked EPA files, or just on the general Global March website, you will find all of these files. And yes, the EPA just goes out of the way to try and say, we knew about it, we warned them, so we can't be blamed for what's going on anymore. So they cover their ass. Here they say they weren't aware that anything was going on. They try to say nothing is going on, so we can't be blamed for anything. Here they're saying, oh, we knew everything was going on, we tried to warn people. Lies. This one, all lies. This document. Spitting in the face of the public. Shame on you, EPA. Shame on you. Think you're doing good. All these government organizations, all the people working for them are so compartmentalized. They think they're doing good. They actually think that they're doing good for the world. They have no idea their horrendous activity that they're actually involved in here. They have no idea. They're so compartmentalized in these companies. Feel sorry for them. They just gotta wake up. Open your third eye a bit here. For all you whistleblowers out there who have seceded from these organizations because of their nefarious activities. Good on you. Keep it up. We need more people like you. Here is a document I printed off. It's an email from Executive Director Dr. Laurie Danielson. He's the Executive Director of the NCI here in my municipality of Fort Saskatchewan. He runs on both the Lamont County, the Lamont Bruderheim, and Fort Saskatchewan air monitoring devices. And you can go online and look up what these air monitoring stations all say is in the atmosphere and everything. It's all lies. It's all lies. It's all Environment Canada tampered instruments that only pick up very fine particulate matter from 2.2 to 2.4 on the micrometer scale, designed to pick up very fine particulate matter from wildfires and things like that. These instruments were put up right after the big wildfires that happened about 5 years ago. that's why these instruments were put up. It has nothing to do with the industrial toxicities or chemicals that are being put out. People think it is. People think that's what's being measured, but there's no way they can even pick up the chemtrail particles, particulates. And here in this document, Dr. Laurie Danielson tells me, I do not believe that you will ever get your smoking gun evidence, Brendan, as I do not believe that there is any evidence, scientific or otherwise, to support that geoscientists have convinced all the governments of the world to spend billions of dollars on such a campaign. Unlikely in the extreme, 900 pages of evidence here to prove it's not unlikely in the extreme. It's like the cheapest way to do geoengineering. Scientific or otherwise to support geoscientists have convinced the governments of the world to spend billions of dollars on such a campaign. Unlikely in the extreme, all combustion of fossil fuels results in the generation of water vapor at various altitudes. That water vapor can freeze and then hang around for a long time until it dissipates. At lower altitudes, it remains as water vapor and dissipates quite quickly. This is very common for any and all aircraft that burn fossil fuels. I do not believe that there is any nefarious activity occurring in this regard, and strongly encourage you to apply your energy to passion to more fruitful endeavors, he tells me. Basically trying to tell me that these low altitude clouds that dissipate very quickly, that's just ridiculous. I have so much photographic evidence, and you go to skydaralert.com and go to the Sky Alert website and look at all the photos posted around the world over the last year or so. There's a lot of low altitude chemtrails that last for like 6 hours and more. Now, these low altitude chemtrails, they were water vapor. They would dissipate quite quickly, as environmental scientist and executive director Laurie Danielson says here. Yes, low altitude water vapor does dissipate very quickly. You're right, Laurie, it does. So, in that respect, I'd like to tell you to tell me what that is. Or that. Or that. Or that. Hundreds of photographic evidence locally I have here. Almost all of this low altitude. I assure you, these planes are just shutting off their engines for fun. They're not just dropping 2,000 feet. Hey, every now and then we like to shut off all our engines and drop 2,000 feet. It scares our passengers a little bit. It's fun, That's not what's going on here. These pilots aren't insane. It's not some joyride when you go to Japan or something. You're not just taking some joyride flight on Air Canada. It's hard to look at all this photographic evidence. It's just goes to show how much chemicals they're spraying everywhere. So like I said, Dr. Laurie, low altitude water vapor dissipates very quickly. It's clearly not what this stuff is. Clearly not what this stuff is. Here, document from an article posted by William Thomas, famous author and journalist here in Canada. Very good document. Its article is posted on the Fort Saskatchewan chapter Facebook page for the Global March Against Chemtrails and Geoengineering. He goes out of his way to do a lot of interviews and locally here in Canada, he interviews Dave Dickey. He has his own landscaping company here, and he's talked to a lot of the air traffic controllers. He's seen firsthand the damage by these chemtrails and how they can look so innocent. He goes in his interview and he says him and a group of 12-year-olds looked gazing at these chemtrail planes, these chem planes spraying over Edmonton, looking at it like it was like a fun spectacle to watch, like a meteor shower or something. They're spraying the poison over top, and these kids are just watching it like it's perfectly normal. Of course, at that time, he didn't really know what chemtrails were. He later found out what they were, and is now actively pursuing justice against it. A lot more expansive than that, this article that he does, that William Thomas puts together here. There's a lot of evidence, a lot of sources, a lot of lab report numbers involved, a lot of hard evidence, very good journalistic job by William Thomas done in this report. I'd like to see someone debunk William Thomas's work here, and I'd like to see people's responses onto this research, this 900 pages of evidence I have. Someone who can debunk this. If you exist out there, try me.